Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and welcome to Friday's edition of the DCEU Daily. A couple of days ago, Zack Snyder posted this. Can you see it? Now, this is absolutely nuts, isn't it? I mean, what's going on here? What is going on here? Well, he's got a clapperboard in front of his original picture of his original idea for the first Wonder Woman, which was for it to be set during the Crimean War. And I think everyone, including Wonder Woman, are holding some severed heads. Is that right? So, again, typically dark and brutal and controversial from Zack. But why is he showing us a picture of this? Well, a couple of days ago, there was a Restore the Snyderverse event on Twitter. Now, recently, Zack hasn't been getting involved with these events or doing anything. So it's interesting to me that he put this up, because this really has nothing to do with the goal of Restore the Snyderverse, which is to try and, force Warner Brothers to green light Justice League 2 and Justice League 3 and make the Batfleck movie and things like that and release the air cut. So why did he post this? So this is interesting to me. Listen, it's no secret I don't like Patty Jenkins as a blockbuster creative. Yes, she did Monster. She's done a few other smaller movies that have ended up really well, and I think that's her bag. But it's clear after her being sacked from Rogue Squadron by, what's her name? Kathleen Kennedy. It's clear even Kathleen Kennedy, who's made scored so many own goals over at Star Wars, understood that this woman doesn't have a fucking clue. Because, Kathleen Kennedy wanted to have the first female director do a Star Wars movie. And she's thinking, Patty Jenkins, she's directed 2 Wonder Woman films, right? How can this possibly go wrong? This is not going to go wrong. Unfortunately, she tapped Patty to do Rogue Squadron before she'd seen Wonder Woman 84. And then what became clear to her is what became clear to me and you after we saw Wonder Woman 84. That the person responsible for the first Wonder Woman isn't the person responsible for the second Wonder Woman. I mean, what kind of studio sees Wonder Woman 84, has problems with Wonder Woman 84, tries to get the director to change elements of it? The said director calls out said studio during the marketing campaign of Wonder Woman 84, and they still give her another movie. There's something wrong with this picture. Listen, it's there now. I predicted that there would be problems with Patty Jenkins, after we all saw Wonder Woman 84. And I said that, I did say that I was surprised about Rogue Squadron. I was surprised it was going ahead. There you go. It's not going ahead because clearly they knew she's not fit for purpose. And now I love Star Wars, but my focus is always DC. And I want the best people to make DC movies. And I just think the best person to make Wonder Woman 3 is Zack Snyder. Now, obviously, they're trying to fast track Wonder Woman 3. I think they just need to take a step back and just bin her and just frame it as a scheduling problem. Not even creative differences. Just say, as I've said before, my good friend Zack Snyder is going to take over the film because I can't do it because I'm making Cleopatra. That's fair enough, right? Because one moment she's got loads of movies to do, now it's pretty much Cleopatra and Wonder Woman 3. It's pretty clear that Wonder Woman 3 will be a similar type of film than Wonder Woman 2. I know that the studio want Cavill and Affleck and Gal to be in Wonder Woman 3, which would be better, but can Jenkins handle that? That's my problem. So I would just like them to bin Patty Jenkins and go to Zack. Make your movie, Zack. Make your movie. Because why is he posting this? This doesn't make any sense. On a Restore the Snyderverse event. Now, as I say, don't forget, he hasn't been getting involved recently. He's been focused on his Army of the Dead franchise on Netflix and Rebel Moon. Right now, he's working on pre-production of Rebel Moon. So this guy is really busy. He takes time out to do this during an event. What does this tell us? First of all, he wants us to carry on fighting for his Justice League 2 and Justice League 3, but also, this is unrelated. This is nothing to do with Justice League. So this is interesting. Is he hinting that he's going to be involved in Wonder Woman 3? Will he co-write this film with Patty Jenkins? To be honest with you, if that's the case and he can't direct it, but he's co-writing it and she's directing it, it will be the same situation as the first Wonder Woman, which ended up fucking amazing. So if it's the case that Zack's going to co-write this movie, right, or at least co-write the story, and maybe somebody else does the screenplay, maybe Alan Heinberg again, and she directs it, I'll be happy with that. I don't know if she would be happy with that, but then if that's the case, I say, Patty, you can stay. And I know it's not up to me, but I'm just giving you a scenario. And the point being, if that is the scenario we're going to get here, I'd be really happy with this. My problem is that last time we heard from her and Gal, you know, it's the script's being worked on, you know, Linda Carter's going to be involved, so we're just continuing straight off the bat from Wonder Woman 84, which is not what I want. Now, a lot of the fandom seem to be very apathetic towards Wonder Woman. You know, I hear a lot of things like, oh, Patty should finish her trilogy. Hang on, trilogy? She just directed the first film. She had very, very little to do with that film's narrative or how it ended up so well. And I think we can tell that she hated the first Wonder Woman film because she went so far away from it with her sequel, which didn't end up well. And I've said this before, what kind of director moves away and loses such a great supporting cast of characters? Because the supporting cast of characters in Wonder Woman, the first one, were excellent. And I wanted to see their stories and their relationships with Diana Prince continue. But she didn't want that. So she gave us something different. Now, initially hearing that Cheetah was involved was very exciting because, you know, Cheetah is one of my favourite DC characters in terms of villains, anti-heroes, whatever you want to call her. But again, it wasn't the Cheetah that we read in the comics. In any comics, the look of her looks terrible. That horrible eyeliner that looks like it's just been painted on. Obviously, it's been painted on, but it shouldn't look that way. It's terrible. The character is terrible. Barbara Manova wasn't done justice. It's not the actress's fault. But was it right to cast really a comedy actress to do this role? And what they gave her in this film wasn't even funny. She didn't make me laugh once. So I would ask again, what was the point of bringing her on? Specifically, when they brought in Richard Pryor for Superman 3, they brought him on because he was a comedian. He was funny in Superman 3. That direction didn't please many people, but at least he was funny, and they gave him, you know, some funny stuff, and they allowed, you know, Richard to ad-lib as well. But she wasn't funny in this movie. You know, I think she was actually funnier in Ghostbusters 2016. I thought she was quite good in Ghostbusters 2016. I'm not saying I particularly enjoyed that movie greatly, but I didn't hate it either, and I thought she was the standout from that movie. And when I first heard she was cast, I kind of thought, well, okay then, this could be interesting. But it wasn't. It didn't work. Pedro Pascal was excellent as Maxwell Lord. But he wasn't Maxwell Lord, he was Donald Trump. And I've explained to you the other day on this very channel why they keep on banging the drum of toxic masculinity, because Hollywood is infested with it. And I'm talking about bad men who are in charge of studios and directors, really bad men. So they see men like the way they see the men in Hollywood. But there has to come a time when you have to stop banging that drum, because it isn't my fault or your fault that they work with shitty men. So, you know, their society isn't our society. That's the point I'm making. But because they live in a bubble, they don't get it. So Patty Jenkins was banging the drum in Wonder Woman 84 about toxic masculinity. We saw it a lot. Pedro Pascal's Maxwell Lord is a commentary on toxic masculinity and Donald Trump. And I wonder why this person decided to set this movie in the 80s, considering it's clear she fucking hates the 80s. She has a stereotypical view of the 80s of, you know, loud men, you know, toxic males, you know, things like that. And you know what? When you see Stranger Things, you can tell they love the 80s, but this woman doesn't like the 80s. So it doesn't make sense. I think the right decision here is to bring Zack on board. Now, could this be the type of film he could be making? I'm not saying he's tapped to do this, but maybe. Who knows, right? I don't want to get your hopes up. And I know there's some people on here who will say, I don't like Zack Snyder, I don't want him doing Wonder Woman 3. And listen, I'm not here to trigger you or upset you. But did you really like Wonder Woman 84? Do you think the person who co-wrote and directed Wonder Woman 84 earned the right to get a sequel, to get a third movie? Because I don't think that she did. And I think this is serious now, because I care about these characters in these DC universes. And Wonder Woman's great. She's had one good film and a shoddy TV series in the 70s or 80s or whenever it was done. You can look back at it and say it was okay, but I'm not really excited about Linda Carter being involved in Wonder Woman 3. I don't see the point. She's not even, we're heading for the multiverse and she's not even playing her Wonder Woman. It makes no fucking sense. Why get her to play that goddess when she could have been playing her version of Wonder Woman? It would have been great, right? Makes more sense with the multiverse coming. Because Wonder Woman 3 will hit movie theatres after Flashpoint. So it would make sense. But we're not going to see that. Maybe we'll see her as her Wonder Woman in the Flash movie. That would be fun. But I don't understand Patty Jenkins' thinking here of not bringing her back as her original Wonder Woman. That's the only reason to bring her back. Giving her this character is pointless. So basically, Wonder Woman 84 wasn't fit for purpose. Neither a great movie, neither a terrible movie. It just didn't work. It's as simple as that. The movie just doesn't even know what it wants to be. And they, straight away, as it was released, they greenlit officially. There wasn't even any rumours about this. Toby Emmerich came out publicly and greenlit Wonder Woman 3. And you think, hang on a minute, this woman has delivered a fucking bomb. You won't give Zack Snyder Justice League 2 and Justice League 3, but you'll give her another movie, and it just proves in Hollywood that you fail upwards, right? The worse you do, the more you get, because it's about connections and DNA, as I've tried to explain to you many times before. I don't want her to be involved. Now, if Zack's involved and he wants to keep her there on a short leash, I'm happy for that to be a thing. But clearly Zack hasn't got the time right now with Rebel Moon, right? Because that goes into production next year. But he can do that. He can start Wonder Woman after Rebel Moon anyway. I'd rather Wonder Woman 3 be delayed with a great director rather than rushing it with a bad director who shouldn't be making any blockbusters. She's clueless when it comes to these DC characters, and she's certainly clueless when it comes to Wonder Woman because she's adapting Linda Carter's version of Wonder Woman, and that's something I don't want to see, right? She isn't got anything to offer, Wonder Woman, not what we want to see. Because even the ones who say she should get to finish her final trilogy, and I don't even believe she's involved really narratively in the big decisions of the first movie, so how can this be a trilogy? This is not kind of her vision, the first one, the second one. The second one's her vision, the first one's not. That's why the second one is so far away from the first one. She wanted to get away as far away from that as possible. And there's the problem, right? She doesn't see Wonder Woman like the comic book fans do. She doesn't see Wonder Woman like Alan Heinberg does, the guy who co-wrote the story with Zack Snyder in the screenplay. I think we can all agree the first Wonder Woman was brilliant. So why not bring back the old team? Patty is merely the director, and Alan Heinberg and Zack Snyder on writing duty. Put Zack in charge of the movie at least. Because that means he doesn't have to take any time out, right? The movie doesn't have to be delayed. But this is problematic. Because at this moment, as we're talking, Patty Jenkins is probably co-writing this film with Jeff Johns again, because if she's writing this film on her own, because we don't know who's writing this film with her. As I said, what scares me the most is it's going to be announced that she's co-writing this film with Gal Gadot. Even worse, Gal Gadot and Linda Carter. Imagine if they announced that. My head will be in my hands. But I wouldn't put it past them. At this moment in time, this film is a clusterfuck of, big proportions. And all I can do is worry for this movie. But Snyder putting this up on Vero gives me hope, because I still don't understand why he would do this. Zack is always trying to send messages to the fandom, and this is a big one. As I say, right now he's working on post-production of Rebel Moon. They'll start filming next year. And as I also said, he hasn't really been involved with the other events. He hasn't posted anything as they've been going. I think he did one last time, the time before this one. But this, and I think everyone's saying it from the fandom as well, everyone's going, what the fuck? Why are you showing us this? What's going on? Grace Randolph did say, as the Snyder Cut was about to be released, that there are some suits at Warner Brothers who wanted him to do Wonder Woman 3. I think the Wonder Woman 3 situation is evolving all the time. I think that Warner Brothers now will see what happened on Rogue Squadron, I would hope, and start to get nervous about her. And maybe they have spoken to Zack Snyder. Now you would think to yourself, but Mick, there's not a good relationship there. Well, do you think they work with everyone that they like? Of course they don't. The relationship in the War of Words publicly with Zack Snyder, they've got that relationship with most directors. But normally it doesn't come out publicly. That's why we don't know about it. That's why we find the Snyder-Warner Brothers situation so unique, because we actually know about it. Normally these things happen, but in the privacy of the studio, of the set. Do you understand? So just because they don't like each other, it doesn't mean they won't decide to work again together. Zack Snyder will definitely be an executive producer on the film, and that's merely a credit so he can get paid for what he set up at the beginning of the DCEU. But as executive producer, he has got authority, if he wanted to remove this woman. He's not going to do that because he's not that guy. So it's interesting what's going to happen here. Because, listen, because Gal Gadot is happy to go along this line with Patty Jenkins. It's all girls together, right? And she will be loving the PR of her and Patty writing this film together. Gal Gadot has never even written a sonnet before. So Gal Gadot, I'm not saying this is happening, this is something I'm worried about. Gal Gadot co-writing this film with Patty Jenkins worries me. Because I just can't see Jeff Johns writing another film with Patty Jenkins, or that even being allowed. But who knows? Jeff Johns and Patty Jenkins writing the film together is worrying, because Jeff Johns co-wrote Wonder Woman 84. Jeff Johns is a great writer normally, so I don't know what was going on here. I don't know if Wonder Woman 84 was just a middle finger up at Zack Snyder. Well, I tell you what, Zack Snyder was the one who came up smelling of roses with the Snyder Cut, and Patty Jenkins was hugely exposed. Now, Zack Snyder told us that he loved Wonder Woman 84 during the marketing. It's a great movie. Zack was obviously made to say that because he wanted to release the Snyder Cut. It's obvious. He doesn't really think that's a great movie, but what can you do? This is what happens in the industry. These are the sacrifices you have to make. It's like David Ayer. Do you think David Ayer wants to keep on, patting James Gunn on the arse? But he wants his Ayer cut released. So he'll do whatever's necessary. And he said lots of strongly worded things about James Gunn in a positive way. And it's interesting. And I think he's been overdoing it. And he's been overdoing it because that's how desperate he is to get the Ayer cut released. So at the end of the day, this is what you have to do in big business. You have to play the fucking game. And when you don't play the game like Zack Snyder didn't play the game during the original shooting process of Justice League, he found himself out on his ear. So it's very interesting. You would think there's no scenario where Zack Snyder can be involved creatively with a third Wonder Woman movie, but I do think that this is interesting because the event we were hashtagging the other day had nothing to do with this. It was, you think, what's going on here? So I think we've still got a 25% chance of Zack Snyder's Wonder Woman 3, or at least him co-writing it with Jenkins. But hopefully she doesn't get to write it. Hopefully he writes it with Alan Heinberg again, like he did the first movie. Again, this is wishful thinking. I know, because at this moment in time, she's totally in charge of this movie. And nothing frightens me more than that. And I think there's an opportunity here to save this movie. Because if we go down this road again, with Patty having full creative control, it's simply not going to work. What happened to her Wonder Woman spin-off? Do you remember her Wonder Woman spin-off? What happened to that? It was supposed to be set on Themyscira. Nothing's been said about that. Remember that. Now, I think that was supposed to be another movie and not a streaming show. What's happened to that? Is that supposed to be... Now, I'm assuming that's supposed to be the precursor of Wonder Woman 3, which would be interesting, especially if Lily Aspel is the lead, because Lily Aspel is a little bit older now. She plays young Diana in Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman 1984. Definitely the best thing of Wonder Woman 84. Her sequences in Themyscira at the beginning of the film really start the film off on a good vibe. And as soon as that vibe's gone, the film's finished. I like the third act, it's very emotional, it brings tears to my eyes and all of that. But at the end of the day, the film simply isn't consistent enough or good enough. And asking Patty Jenkins to make another Wonder Woman 84, scares me. But what is she planning for Wonder Woman 84 then? Or should I say, sorry, Wonder Woman 3. She's already planned that film, so we already know what that film is. Wonder Woman 3, from what I've been told, is set in the modern era. It will have a lot of central universe elements to it. It will show a predominant amount of the Justice League, and I'm told that Cavill and Ben Affleck would be involved. Obviously, we have to wait and see to Flash to see if Ben Affleck and Cavill are even... Well, we know Ben Affleck's involved in the Flash, but we don't know if Cavill is. For me, Cavill has to be involved at the beginning of the Flash movie, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see about that. So yeah, it's set in the modern day. Now, I don't know what the story will be. It will be something to do with Linda Carter's character. Could Linda Carter's character end up being the villain of Wonder Woman 3? My problem is with Linda Carter, I don't think she's fit enough to be in a significant amount of sequences and certainly play the villain, because she would not be able to do the choreography. So that would be a mess as well, because they need a stunt double every fucking time. I mean, if you watch the sequence she does in the post-credits, you can hear her voice. She sounds very, very weak. I don't know what happened to her voice, because when I see her talk, especially at DC Fandom, her voice sounded strong, but she really sounded like an old woman. And they made her up to look young, but her voice sounded so old. And so it's a problem. Listen, so that is what Patty Jenkins is planning. A modern day movie set. You know, we had the First World War. We had 1984, and now we're going to be in the 21st century. And she was talking about Wonder Woman 3 being very relevant to what's happening today. But she kind of said the same thing about Wonder Woman 84. When I hear these creatives say it's relevant to what's happening today, already you should be fucking scared. And this is why this woman shouldn't be anywhere near this movie. And if Zack Snyder is hinting about doing Wonder Woman 3, or at least co-writing it, I don't know, being involved at least. This is his Wonder Woman. He set this Wonder Woman up. He cast her, he introduced her in BVS, he was very much in charge and control of the first Wonder Woman. He lost some battles to Jenkins and to Jeff Johns, but mostly he won. The colour palette, he lost that battle. The suit being brighter, he lost that battle. But ultimately, that film is as good as it is, not because of Patty Jenkins, but because of Zack Snyder and Alan Heinberg. And it's as simple as that, and the music is just brilliant as well. Everything, it worked. Chris Pine was great casting. I don't know who cast Chris Pine. If it was Patty Jenkins really likes Chris Pine, so maybe Patty cast him. Good idea, Patty. But it doesn't take away that she lacks the talent to make these blockbusters, as Kathleen Kennedy has found out to her detriment. Now that film's been shelved. That film is off the slate. You can't be working with people who are so lacking in ability, creative ability, that you have to pull them away from a movie. Because it's not just the time and the rescheduling you have to deal with. It's the financial losses, which are so important to these companies, and quite right too. They're companies, they're there to make money. So it's you know, what Hollywood seems to show me a lot, that it seems to act like it's a charity to all its friends. And I think that's astronomical, considering the amount of money that's, you know, is at stake for these big projects today. If you want Patty Jenkins to do something Star Wars, get her to do something small on Disney+. At least it's, you know, negligible, right? At least it's negotiable, right? But a big film, you know, because Star Wars was born in the movie theatres. But at the end of the day, you know, you can't be trusting a film like Rogue Squadron to Patty Jenkins. And I know why they got Patty. She's a female. She looks like a successful director because of the first Wonder Woman. She took credit for Zack Snyders' movie, right? And Zack, being the gent that he is, let her do it. But the truth is, she proved that Wonder Woman 2017 had very little to do with her, and Wonder Woman 84 had everything to do with her. So, you know, for me, Zack Snyder can save this situation. As I've already said, it's his Wonder Woman. This is not a big change-up. He can let him make the Wonder Woman he wants to make. I don't know if it remains in the modern era, but if this is a hint that he's doing Wonder Woman 3 or a Wonder Woman spin-off or whatever this is, he's obviously hinting that it's going to be set in the Crimean War. Or it could be set in the modern day and she can have flashbacks to the Crimean War. Because this is an interesting thing to do with Wonder Woman. Because he gets the character. She's been around for so long. It's foolhardy not to take advantage of that. And this would be awesome. Now, I don't know if they would be allowed to do the whole, you know, severed heads thing. I don't know. But at the end of the day, at least it's something that people will be talking about. People don't talk about Wonder Woman 84. They don't even talk about it. I'm the only one who talks about it to hate on it. I'm hating on it for a reason. I wouldn't be talking about this film if she wasn't on the third movie. But I'm very disappointed that she's on the third movie. Because I don't understand an industry who clearly understand, a studio that clearly understand that Wonder Woman 84 wasn't fit for purpose, but they brought her back for the third movie because it's polite to give her a trilogy of films that she's directed. But it's not like she has any themes weaving through anyway. The only theme really, and I don't think it's her theme anyway, is Lily Aspell's Young Diana in Themyscira. Now, that going across the three movies is excellent and it's brilliant and I like that. Again, I don't think it was her original idea, but it's great and it works. And the Themyscira sequence in Wonder Woman 84 is well shot, surprisingly, because she doesn't seem to be that proficient at action, because Wonder Woman 84 hardly had any action, which is a problem as well. I think maybe that's why Hans Zimmer did the score for Wonder Woman 84, to make it sound more epic than the movie actually was. And so, look, at the end of the day, you can love Wonder Woman 84, you can shrug your shoulders, you can be apathetic towards it, but at the end of the day, the woman who made Wonder Woman 84 shouldn't be making this third Wonder Woman movie. And if this is a hint that Zack Snyder is about to get the keys back to Wonder Woman, this will excite a lot of people. There's no question about it. Everyone at Warner Brothers knows that Zack Snyder's Justice League is something extremely special and that it's made a lot of money for them. They may not be happy to release that information, but one thing's for sure. They know Zack Snyder is big business now. That maybe they didn't trust him initially when all the hate was coming out for him, but at the end of the day, now we can see the truth. They can see the truth that, yes, he may be a controversial director, but he's a controversial director that many people like. And the money that Justice League brought in for them through his Snyder Cut is sensational. Let's not forget, Batman vs Superman made just under $1 billion. And it's a cult fucking classic now. And Man of Steel the same. Man of Steel didn't break any records, but it still did solid box office. Now, they wanted it to do more, but that's history now. So they know Zack Snyder isn't flop material. You look at his movies, and obviously we can bring the one with the women in it, I forgot what it's called, but let's not talk about that. That was just a passion project. I'm talking about his blockbusters. You know, Watchmen did okay, didn't break any records. Man of Steel did okay, and Batman vs Superman made just under $1 billion. And there's no evidence to say the Snyder Cut, if it was released in 2017, would have done any worse. But now, because of the Release the Snyder Cut community, because of the Restore the Snyderverse, you know, community as well, you know, people can see, and people have seen the Snyder Cut, and they know he's a better proposition than Patty Jenkins. I mean, anyone would be a better proposition than Patty Jenkins, Paul Feig directing Wonder Woman 3 would be better. No, I'm joking, but you know what I mean. So at the end of the day, Zack Snyder's Wonder Woman 3 is a thing that I'm fighting for publicly because I think it's the best solution for the character. This has been the DCEU Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. And I'll be back again tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. Until then, goodbye.